For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
I'm Steve Torrence, four-time NHRA Top Fuel World Champion. And when me and these Capco boys win races, we go straight WFO.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. It is race week in the NHRA, headed to Virginia Motorsports Park. And I'm super excited to go back to Virginia. They say Virginia is for lovers, baby. I lived there for a little while. A little north of that, up in Arlington area, but had a great time. And we are going back to Virginia for the first time in a couple of years. So I would imagine we have got some very excited NHRA drag racing fans going to be coming out there to watch the race. We got the voice of the National Hot Rod Association, Alan Reinhart, going to be joining us just seconds from now. We've got some special guests on the show as well. It's going to be a big week, right? Big week. And in addition to the Camping World Series, there's a big promotion going on up there, like a match race. Larry Spiderman McBride going to be going up against a former protege, Dave Vantine, going to battle it out on track. We're talking Top Fuel motorcycles, match race, a couple of times over the, maybe, we call it an exhibition race. But Larry McBride is a legend, an icon, a 20-time champion. He also happens to be a weekly and regular WFO radio listener. And so we are going to have Larry on the show. And also Jack from Cycle Drag a little bit later on will come on and give some perspective to what we are about to witness as part of this event. I'm super excited. Top Fuel Funny Car, Pro Stock Motorcycle, Pro Fuel Harley, Comp Eliminator, everybody going to be there. It is going to be great. Super excited what is going on. Now, some business. Before we get to the business, the WFO free mobile app. This is something that we're pioneers, okay? When it comes to the mobile app business, I don't pat myself on the back when I do things, but like 10 years after it happened, yeah, when you look back and you realize, boy, we were probably the first in drag racing to have a mobile application. And first we charged for it, and then we made money and we paid for it, and then we made it free, and that made people angry. It was great. It was a great thing, right? Well, the app has just been updated. It is still free. I'm putting it in the chat section right now. What is different about the WFO Radio app? Well, the navigation menus are much easier to see. That was a complaint that we got. Like you couldn't see the navigation menus. You can get all of our videos there. You can check out our videos live in many cases. All the audio podcasts, everything is there. You can share them from there. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel from there. So download the WFO Radio mobile app, iPhone, Android. It is free. And most importantly, like this is it, most important, enable push notifications, because that is how I directly communicate with you. Like you, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and write a letter and send up a smoke signal. The WFO Radio mobile app, the day we decide to take over the world, that's where the push is coming out. So enable push notifications and download that WFO Radio mobile app. Appreciate you doing that. It is going to be great. We got Reinhardt just seconds away. If you did not hear the Ignition show, if you're into the Formula One experience, if you want to know what it was like to go to the world's premier sporting event, at least to this moment, until there's another one, it's the world's premier sporting event. All the ideas, all the concepts, all the energy that I'll be taking into this weekend in Virginia. Super excited. Got to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do this, though, like Total Seal Piston Rings. Thinking about those F1 cars, I was wondering, like, does that one have Total Seal? Does that one have Total Seal? Because some of them do. It's just a matter of who, and it's top secret information. The great thing about NHRA is that we can know who's got what. Not quite that top secret. TotalSeal.com. We got a new podcast up Baldwin Performance, Baldwin Racing Engines in Missouri. They build engines for, 410 sprints and all that stuff, but big money demolition derby. Did you even know that such a thing existed? Like 30 grand demolition derby, 50 grand demolition derby, where they're offering enough money where now you're building engines to survive a demolition derby. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was mostly junk cars and they just survived if they survived. Nope. Special hones, more oil, keep them cool because, the radiator's going to get blown out of it. Amazing stuff. Go to totalseal.com. You can check it out. Get the latest episode. Phillips Connect, Justin Ashley news. We'll be telling you about a little bit later on in the show. Justin Ashley news, I can tell you now. He'll be on the show 2 p.m. Eastern Wednesday. Fans of Justin Ashley, folks at Phillips Connect doing a great job with their fleets out there. Folks at Amazon, folks at Walmart, trucks, trailers, over the road, sensors, staying connected. Phillips Connect to keep you safer and your cargo safer and your driver safer out there over the road. Greatly appreciate them. Plus VP Racing Fuels, VP Lubricants, VP Fuel Additives, FTI Performance Transmissions.com, FTI converters. They make their own fluid. And later on in the show, we'll tell you about samtech.edu, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and Marvin Rodak, the coffee that gets me going every day. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. What is it? Craft Roaster, Marvin Rodak. All right, let's bring on Reinhart. Thank you for What's up, AR? Thank you for enduring all my stuff. That mobile app, you've been around since the beginning of the mobile app. You've been around since the beginning of the iPhone, right? And my buddies who I went to high school with, they're like, we started an app business and we can build you an app. And I was like, oh my gosh, we'll be the first in the NHRA prior to the NHRA mobile app. It's still trucking and has just gone through a major update to make it more, user-friendly, a little faster, a little easier to use. And this show and our video shows are in the video archive. Like, it's all in the WFO app.
I remember you picking up strangers' phones at the bar and downloading the WFO app and just said, yeah, we'll go ahead and buy it. No problem. Here you go. You got my app. And never even telling the guy that it cost him $2.
We're not proud of everything we've done over the years, Alan. We're not proud of it. But if nothing else, it shows how hard we worked and how badly we wanted it. Success.
Yeah, you and Joey Logano, how badly we wanted it. That was
no, man, just drive right through him. Don't even try to pass him. Logano would have got past him in one turn. Nope.
Well,
good for Joey. We talked about it on Ignition. Good for Joey. The people who don't like the move don't like Joey or like Alex Bowman. I mean, Byron. I get those two confused, the B's. But if you like Joey and you don't want to take your driver taking any crap as he perceived it, hey, that's NASCAR racing. Should be.
Yeah, I mean, I was fine with it. And you'd have to ask him, but I think if Joey bumps him, passes him, and he finishes third, then everybody goes, well, that's just racing. And Joey hit him hard enough that he hit the wall and finished 13th. So all of a sudden he's, a rotten bastard. But I was fine with it either way.
Yeah, exactly. We should ask Tony Stewart this weekend. We'll see how it goes. But you know what? Since you bring up NASCAR, and it's a good conversation to have. Of course, I was totally enveloped in Miami stuff. But the throwback weekend, our NHRA community, we're jonesing to do it. We got to get on the same page for somewhere. I don't know where or whatever, but we're jonesing to do it. It would be fun.
Okay, I got it. When we go back to Columbus, then we'll have our first throwback weekend.
Okay, there it is. At
I'm
least Reinhart.
I'm starting a rumor. I don't know anything about us going back to Columbus. I don't know if anybody's I'm just starting a rumor. When we go back to Columbus, that'll be our throwback.
Okay. Whatever it takes, a little of this, a little of that, whatever it takes. I'm super excited, but we want to have a throwback weekend so I can wear my Pepsi Challenger hat, right? Because who's got one of those? Tater Troyer is throwing water on us, figuratively and almost literally. Weather doesn't look good for Richmond. Tell him, Reinhart. Tell Tater not to do that.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
If you'd have listened to the weatherman, we wouldn't have gone to Charlotte. So.
Good point.
We'll go. We'll figure it out. It'll probably rain a little bit on us at some point, and we'll dry the track and we'll go racing. But I got you know me, Joe. I'd never look at the weather because I know guys that look at the weather like this 5 days out and they start, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, you're going to go to the race anyway. So why even look at the weather? You can't do anything about it. It'll rain. We'll dry the track. We'll go racing. That's just what's going to happen. And why make yourself miserable for 4 days? I got a call from corporate 2 weeks ago on Monday. It's like, man, I don't know. Saturday looks like a complete washout, and I don't know about Friday, Sunday maybe for Charlotte.
Yeah.
Now, how much rain disruption did we have in Charlotte?
I believe it was none.
I believe it was none.
Yeah.
So why worry about it? And I get it if there's a hurricane coming. I get okay, but like in Gainesville, right? Okay, we sat through a couple of days of rain in Gainesville, but we raced, and we're going to race in Richmond. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting back down there to Tommy's place and seeing all the fans from that part of the world that we haven't seen in a couple of years. I hated when we didn't go there for a few years, and then when we got to going back, it's like, okay, great. It's like coming home again, and then I hate the fact that we haven't been there in 2 years. It's kind of like Seattle. I'm really looking forward to getting back up there.
Me too.
Enough through the years, got some friends and got some folks that I usually touch base with when I'm there, and this year I get to actually see it. So.
Yeah, and they're drag racers, Tommy and Judy, and they, PDRA. For those that don't know, they run and manage PDRA, and they saved this track. This was the first track that I went to see an NHRA national event that wasn't in Gainesville. I was up working at XM with Tommy Noodles, and we came down, and that's where I first, met Chef Nikki, and I remember. They brought me out on the starting line like I was a celebrity, which was cool. I had everybody fooled at that point. It was wonderful. And I also learned every event is not like Gainesville, right? Every event is not like Gainesville, but it was still plenty big enough for me, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And now we're going back, which is super exciting. And there's a couple of fun things. All right, we mentioned Spiderman McBride. Larry's going to join us. I know you guys have got a great relationship, and we're just going to try to put some perspective on this, but also they got LED lights there because that's their business that are unique to our sport. Musco lights, you flip them on and then in 10 minutes, they're full speed. But now we see it Marlins Park has new lights, and they do a LED light show before the game. Lights are flashing and everything. And we're going to have something, and I don't know what it is, but something like that, showcasing the light system on Friday, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a couple of things about that track that are unique to that track, and that's one of them. I think that, you mentioned that's kind of the business they're in, so when they're going to upgrade some stuff at the racetrack, why not go top of the line? I think at some point, LEDs will be the thing around that. I've got all LED lights in my shop for the Win Big Monster in the back there. They're brighter. They're wider. They take less energy. Why would you not use them? So, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think there was a lot of fun stuff that was planned for a couple of years ago when it got canceled that now we're finally going to get to take part in.
Oh, no, Alan. We're drag racers. Don't you know? We're supposed to use the least efficient light bulbs that put out the worst light and, burn out. For me, LED, remember there was a big fight about that about 10 years ago. People were very against switching to LED. And now I'm that's one of those things, man. It's not about cheaper for me. It's not about the light because they got you can choose the light which you want. For me, it's about not having to change a light bulb. You don't have to change a light bulb nearly as often. When do I change a light bulb ever in my life anymore? And that is the difference. And that's not even a joke. Buddy Eddie is out there. Afternoon, Joe and Alan. Thanks for all you do for the sport. So let's get into it. Top Fuel, 15 entry list. Funny Car, 16. Pro Stock Motorcycle, 16. Change in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Steve Johnson can now eat a real meal instead of broccoli. He'll be joining us at 12 noon on Wednesday, guys. For those of you who want to see part 2 of the Steve Johnson emotional roller coaster, 12 noon on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. Steve's going to have his own show. What's he going to say? What's he going to do? Nobody knows. Set a reminder.
I hope he shows up with an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, or big steak, big ribeye.
Yeah, a couple more pounds added to the Suzuki's, and we look at what happened the first couple of races, and I think it was needed. It's always interesting depending on what side of the fence you're on. When the Jules a couple of years ago were running away with it, and NHRA stepped quickly and made some adjustments. They're like, oh, knee-jerk reaction. And now the people that have Buells are going, NHRA needs to do something. Well, they did. Okay, so, and there's been a pretty big swing, taking 10 pounds off of the Buells a couple weeks ago, and that put 10 on the Suzuki. Just trying to keep the field level. We don't want it to end up being all one because there's a big performance advantage there. And so, I don't envy Lonnie and the guys that make those decisions that have to sit down and average the runs and look at the stuff and go, okay, this is needed, and how big a step do we need to take? What's going to be the right thing to do? So they're being very proactive about it. I love that.
Absolutely. This is how it's going to go, right? Like active movement. And if it happens in Pro Mod, they're going to make changes. And when Factory X comes around, this is how they're going to do it. It's how it's going to be. And I'm okay with it. You don't want, but I'm sure Matt Smith is back there like a little more. Give me some weight, put some more weight on them. And then that V-twin is coming back out. But I love that Matt's in everybody's head wondering and thinking about it. All right, before we get any further, when Spiderman comes on, I'm excited about it. But this is just one example. Like, I love little bonuses at our events. We got Mountain Motor Pro Stock going to be out there. We got Pro Mod going to be out there. Factory Showdown going to be out there. And this, I've never seen this. I've seen Spider-Man up close, but an exhibition match race, 2 Top Fuel bikes that have both run in the 5s, the quickest and second quickest in North America. The eyes of the world that care about this, like if you're in Sweden or Greece and you care about Top Fuel motorcycles, you probably pay attention to this.
Well, anybody that pays attention to Top Fuel motorcycles of the 4-cylinder variety pays attention to Spiderman, because he has been on the cutting edge. Back in the day, Elmer Treff was the guy who was kind of driving the bus as far as performance and as far as innovation goes. We lost him, of course, in 1996. And I think pretty much since then, Spiderman has been the guy that, if there's an innovation, if there's a record, if there's a milestone, he's the one that has figured it out. And he's got a lot of very good relationships with some other really smart people. He has worked with Alan Johnson, Keith Adams, who was longtime crew chief and Nitro crew member. He and Larry were friends before Keith passed a few years ago. But he has got people to reach out to if he has a problem, if he has something he needs. And, burning nitro is burning nitro. The fact that you're doing it in a smaller bore and a smaller displacement Suzuki, you're doing it in a 500-inch Hemi, it's still burning nitro. So if Larry is running across a problem, then somebody most likely has run across that problem before, and Larry knows who to call. And most of the guys that I know, or all of the guys in NHRA, Larry's not listening yet, right? Because I don't want him to hear this. Most of the guys, they all have a tremendous amount of respect for what he does. So if there's something they can do to help him, they want to, because I think they feel a little point of pride, thinking that, hey, look, that guy is a badass, and maybe I helped him out just a little bit along the way.
Yes. Well, exactly. And so we're all going to get to enjoy that. Like, that's going to be something special that expands beyond NHRA Camping World Drag Racing to just our drag racing universe. And Larry will be coming on a little bit later. Let's dive into the Top Fuel storylines out there. Brittany leading the points, Mike Salinas second, Justin Ashley third. Big news for Justin. He's going to be on the show on Wednesday at 2:00, but they have partnered with a charitable foundation, going to do some good things for veterans. Steve Torrence fourth in the points, but they're all within 51 points. That's what is cool in my mind, is you got 4 horses right here at the top that are all riding.
And interestingly enough, Steve has done it without finding the winner's circle yet this year. And, every week that goes by, somebody else goes, oh my God, what happened to the Capco boys? They haven't won in 5 races or 6 races or 7 races. I'm not concerned about it. Steve doesn't look concerned about it. You've spoken to Bobby how many times? And he's like, we're okay. We're looking at what we could do to try to get ahead again. When everybody caught up, if we keep doing the same thing, everybody's caught up with us. So I think that, come countdown or maybe a little before that, you're going to see the Capco boys come back, because I think they're going to start seeing the benefits of the experimenting and the things that they're doing right now.
Absolutely. And or maybe not, right? Like, all streaks come to an end, and that's what they're fighting for. Is it 4 in a row for Team Capco, or is this the year that somebody, maybe one of those that I mentioned, maybe not, gets up there and wins the championship? That's why we watch. We got to see the whole journey, not just a number on a website. You got to watch the journey and the way they go. And of course it'll happen on a Friday. Looking at, some of the other contenders like Antron Brown sitting there in 10th, Tony Schumacher 9th, Doug Corpela 8th, 248 points though. A win, a couple of good runs, a couple of good moments. Leah sitting 13th. You've got way more than 10 good quality top fuelers that are contending for the top 10. So it's going to be interesting to see on a track that is, if not the smoothest, definitely one of the smoothest.
It's in the conversation. Yeah. I think there's a few of those you mentioned that I'm just kind of waiting to bust out. I think there's a number of people that are surprised it's taken this long for Doug Corpela and Alan Johnson to have a breakout weekend. They've certainly flexed some muscle at times, but they haven't been as consistent as they need to be to go out and win races, which is what we're used to seeing from Alan and Brian and any team that they've worked with. But after speaking to them last week, I feel comfortable that, they understand where they are, they know what they've got to do, and they're doing it. And, as Alan pointed out, he said, look, once we get to the countdown is when we really got to get serious anyway. In the meantime, we've just got to make sure that we've got everything lined up, everything ready for when we get to the countdown. I keep waiting for Leah to bust out. The car has been stronger than the results. And qualified number 2 at the 4 wide last week, ran very well, and just ends up coming out on the wrong end of a pretty good race in the first quad, or in the first round in her quad. She would have advanced, I do believe, in any other quad except the one she was in. And she's been on a couple of those races, that sometimes her fault, sometimes the car didn't quite do what it wanted to do. But that team, I really just keep waiting for them to bust out. I think it's a situation that once they get out there and get to, their first semifinal, their first final, or their first winner's circle of the year, I think they're going to brush this all off pretty quickly and put it behind them. They just need to have that one breakout race, I feel.
They are going down the racetrack. That's what matters. And from where they started to where they are now, it has been marked improvement. All right, let's bring on Spiderman, a special event that is happening this weekend. And I think the times are, 4:30 and 7:30 on Friday. And, I had them written down. 4:30 and 7:30 on Friday is definitely looking. Alan Reinhart going again. Let's bring on Mr. Larry. Wow, what's Alan doing? Larry Spiderman McBride. What's up, Larry? How are you?
Reinhart. Good. How about you, Joe?
You chased him away. Here. All right, now he is back. He is now.
Hi, Larry. I got a special treat for you.
I'm
looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
I just got to watch and see which rental car you're driving.
You guys with
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was Columbus.
I know. I mean, it had to be.
I don't know exactly how long ago that was, but it had to be. It's got to be 20 plus years because it's been like 20 years since we run with NHRA.
And I haven't forgotten.
That's good, but you only had a year to get me back.
That's it. The statute of limitations runs out. All right, tell the story, guys. Well, Larry was on once before with us, Alan, and that was a couple of years ago. Tell the story, what you guys are talking about. And for Larry to say it's been 20 years, that should put some perspective in how big a deal this is. And also, guys, I'm putting the ticket link for Larry in the chat section right now. So if you click this link, Larry gets credit for bringing you to the race. That's the point that I am making. I don't know, maybe even gets a cut of the money. I don't care about that. I want him to get the credit for bringing people to the race so we see more stuff like that. It's up in the chat section. Guys, tell your story. What are you talking about?
Well, basically, I'm the nicest, friendliest person in the history of the world that would never do anything to antagonize someone that has, superhero status like Mr. McBride there. And he poured a full ice chest full of cold water and ice in the driver's seat of my rental car for completely unprovoked, no reason. I don't think I did. I don't think I did anything to deserve that, and I'm kind of hurt actually.
Larry, your response.
The other side of the story is he pushed me in a cooler, okay, in the same cooler of water that I poured in his car. And I was soaking wet, but I only had to wear my stuff for that night. He had to drive the rental car for the next 3 or 4 days or week or whatever it was. So
it was still wet when I turned it in.
It worked out. It was great. It was one of the, I was back in the Team Winston days.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So
yeah, well, that's so obviously we don't agree on, it's kind of like the NASCAR deal from yesterday. We don't agree on exactly the circumstances, but and then the end of the story is basically my feeling is, and always has been, that if something like, you have a year to retaliate, or you've started a new sequence of events. So for the next year, I never retaliated, but I made sure that Larry was looking over his shoulder a lot. I'd like to come up behind him and make a noise and make him jump and run and look around and make sure he was okay. And so
he always did it at the PRI show, and he had to do it in front of somebody all the time. So make sure everybody.
So I spent a year making him dance on his toes without ever actually taking action against him. So I really feel like I got my revenge for that. He made me suffer for 3 days, and I made him nervous for a better part of a year.
You made me worry a lot because I just knew you was going to do something crazy. So,
and you never did. Well, and exactly, and that's the mental antagonism is probably worse than the actual revenge. But I'm glad you guys had a great time. Please don't ever throw anything on me, and we'll all be good, right?
Maybe a little nitro.
Okay, I'm cool with that. So, Larry, the quickest ever in history, right? Record holder, 20-time champ, 550, 265 on two wheels. They call you Spiderman because the way you crawl all over the bike. I witnessed one of your runs at Palm Beach years ago as just like a random person who was there when you were testing. And I walked out on the starting line, stood right next to the bike, and was thrilled and amazed at what you're doing. And these machines, they're like our Top Fuel dragsters, right? You can't explain them. How excited are you to be back out there, not just making a run, but able to do like a exhibition match race against Dave, who, as I understand it, is number 2 in North America and in many ways a protege of yours. Explain the dynamic.
Well, yeah, Dave's a good customer of mine, and I do a lot of work for him. He's been a good friend for a lot of years. Used to be on my crew back in the days. He worked with me for, I guess, about 3 years. And now he, it's been about 6 or 7 years ago, he decided that he wanted to go Top Fuel racing. And he bought a bike from a friend of mine, Greg Pollard, and that I was already doing engines and all the work for. And then he, come to me and want to know if I would, do the same for him. I said, absolutely. So it's been a great relationship, and we kind of use, the bikes are a little different, but we share information. So we get, kind of like a multi-car Top Fuel car team. We get different information. So it helps. We can try something on his bike, try something on mine, and go. All of our bikes are similar to the Top Fuel cars. As Alan was saying earlier, I worked with Keith Adams, which was one of my best friends ever, and super smart guy. I worked with Alan Johnson for a lot of years, and he helped me. So I got a lot of we used to keep the Winston car here at my shop. Or actually it goes back to the Travers car. So I got to learn a lot. And back in the day, we actually basically copied a Top Fuel car clutch. My brother did. We just downsized it to fit our stuff. And, with all the help and all the people that I had met through the NHRA, through Alan, he showed me, I've been knowing this guy forever and just learned a lot from all of these guys. And, I'm heavily involved with Bill Miller, engineering right now. Bill's a great guy. I run all his rods and pistons, and he gives me help. We're on the phone with him constantly. I'm very, very lucky to, be good friends with Hoagie, good friends with Bobby Lagana. So I've got a lot of information. Jimmy Prock, I put the slant back, on this particular picture you're looking at right now. It just had the straight up and down pipes. Now I got the slant back pipes. Well, Jimmy Prock's the one that said one day at the trade show, he says, when you go home, make sure you put them pipes on. So we went back home, we put the pipes on. I'm talking, it picked us up about 11 miles an hour, just right off the bat.
Wow.
So some people now in the Europeans, they're kind of, going to that deal because it definitely picks up your mile an hour. Kind of took a little bit to get a hold of the clutch because it changes everything. We didn't have quite as much downforce at the head of the throttle with the pipe shooting straight down instead of forward, but we've got a handle on that pretty much now. And I'm just looking forward to going back to my home track and coming back to NHRA. And, I watch every race. If we're here at the shop, we're watching, NHRA TV, and we listen to Alan and you guys all day long, man. We love what y'all do. And, I'm a drag racer. I don't care if it's automobiles, cars, motorcycles. I don't care. Junior dragsters. I'm all about, drag racing. And I've been doing it now for 44 years. So I don't know anything else either. So it's a good thing.
Alan?
Larry, you mentioned the racetrack being your home track. Joe was talking earlier about how smooth it is. Everybody talks about that is a huge advantage going there where you don't have to deal with, bumps or inconsistencies in the racetrack. That's even more critical for your machine than anything we race, isn't it?
It is. And that track is one of the smoothest tracks in the country. And not only that, it's probably one of the longest tracks in the country for a shutdown. So it's a really good thing. I'm looking forward to it. So got my fingers crossed on. I don't believe all the weather. If I raced on weather, I'd never go to a race. So we're going, and we're leaving here tomorrow, and I guess we'll probably see you. I don't know what day you get in, but you'll be there Thursday or Friday. So
yes,
just looking forward to seeing everybody, and if nothing else, we'll showcase the bike and hopefully go out and make some nice runs. And we're going to have the Harleys there. We're going to have the Pro Stock bikes there. I think we're going to have some I think the Outlaw Pro Stock cars or whatever is going to be there.
Yeah, the Mountain Motor Pro Stock cars are there.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that's not necessarily every week NHRA. And I think coming back to Virginia, doing something like that is important. It's been 3 years since we've been able to get back there and see those fans. So we want to show them a very diverse show. I think it's awesome that you're going to be part. I still can't believe it's been 20 years since you've been to a race with us.
Yeah, it's been 20 years. I think it was 2002. I just looked back at my old records, and Indy of 2002 was the last year we run.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's been a long time, but we stayed out there and kept going. And I came real close to building a Harley and coming out and running with the Harley guys. But at the same time, I couldn't hold up that schedule at the time, with my business and what I had going on with the family and different grandkids and things like that. I couldn't hold up that much travel. We had some backing to do the Harley. We've still got some backing to do the Harley that we're still considering it. I think them guys are, it's a great class. I know every one of them, so it would be, it'd be great to go out and race with these guys.
Have you done any R&D with the Big B Twin?
I started out on Harleys in 1978. So I run for a few years, several years on a Harley, and then I built a new Harley in 1994, and I run some Pro Star races and different things like that. And then it was just so hard to both these bikes were so different. So we decided to stop doing the Harley and just stay with the inline 4-cylinder supercharged, and that's where we've been ever since, and I love it.
Sounds like it's going to be a big event for fans of motorcycles, though, right? With the Pro Stock bikes, the Harleys, and you there. Like, that sounds like an event unto itself. It's
going to be great. If everything works out, if the people that has contacted me, my phone, since we have put this out on the internet, my phone has blowed up. People coming by the shop, so it's going to be a really good thing. I'm looking very forward to it, and NHRA has been accommodating. They're doing everything they can do to help us, give us a good pit spot, and it's going to be. I'm just excited to be there with you guys. I always come to Virginia when we do run. Walk around in the pits and hang out at the Vance and Hines, because I've been, heavily involved with Vance and Hines since 1985. So I'm looking forward to get back there and see all the everybody, because I love all the Pro Stock stuff. I know all the girls and guys in Pro Stock, and just looking forward to seeing everybody. Got a crazy text.
Are you on team Matt Smith, or are you on team Steve Johnson right now?
Yeah, Matt Smith or Steve Johnson, Larry.
Well, you know what? I like both of the guys. I can tell you right now, if I was a betting man, I'd have to bet on Steve Johnson right now, because I'm going to tell you, he's on fire, and it's pretty awesome. He sent me this crazy text this morning and said,
Imagine that.
he went 200 miles an hour. That he's going to get some shirts made up now. He was the last one to go 200. So Steve. I mean, about a page and a half of a text. No, it was good. It was all good. So, and that's I think it's great what's going on in pro stock bike right now. Good competition. A little animosity. I think that's great for the sport. Kind of like WWE, you got to put on a show. You got to put on a show, and that's why I like NHRA and the Top Fuel cars. I mean, have that little ordeal with the cars racing. How they've had a little bit of stuff going on. I like that. Funny cars. I mean, I love it all. And it's just great, because Ron Capps is a good friend of mine, and it's just going to be nice to get back out there to be involved with the big show cars and the big show, the NHRA. I mean, what else is there? I mean,
right.
Great.
What else is there?
We just got to keep it going. We got to keep drag racing going. That's my whole deal. I just try to keep the sport alive, and that's what I like to do.
Alan, you got another question for Larry?
I just want to. Are you doing anything with the electric bike anymore?
It's funny that you asked me that. The electric bike, they just brought it to me about 6 days ago, and we got to go through it. They want to try to reset the record on it. So that thing's been hanging from a ceiling for 10 years, and they just brought it to me, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to do some stuff with OCC. We're probably going to do it down in Florida. We're going to probably do some testing with it at Dinwiddie. But right now I've got other commitments, with NHRA, and then doing some stuff with the Midwest Drag Race Series. We got 3 races with them, just 8-mile stuff, which is a great deal. And so I've got commitments that I've done prior to this one here. So we just got to kind of work this in and get it done as soon as we possibly can.
What's the target? You said you're trying to reset the record. How fast do you think that thing will go?
Well, I still hold the speed record as far as a motorcycle is concerned. Steve
Right.
Huff, I don't think he went 202 or something like that, and I had run 201 10 years ago at a 691. So, we're hoping there's some boys over in Europe that are really good, and I think they run 670 at 185 or something. So our goal is to try to run 640, 650. 210, 215. Unfortunately, the bike's got to have quite a few updates to get that done, because the center of gravity of the bike's always been way too high. So they've got new batteries, which are lower, which is going to help us. So if we can get the center of gravity lower on the bike, and I think we're definitely possible that we can definitely set the record with the new technology on the batteries. And the batteries are. That's the strangest part about an electric bike, is it likes the batteries to get hot. So you need a run, and like when we set the record, we actually made a run, and we run, I don't know, 190, something like that. We turned around, I rode it back up the racetrack, lined it back up, and went 691 at 201.
Yeah, Steve has told me the same thing about the dragster. I was out here in Tucson when he was the first weekend that he was making the 200-mile-an-hour runs, and then he and I have talked about it quite a bit. But he said exactly the same thing, that the batteries basically need to be warmed up, and you've got to do it under load. He said driving around the pits isn't enough for it, but he'll make one run and run 194, 5, 6 something, come back up, and then it goes 200 or 201. But it's got to get that first run under his belt, just kind of get the batteries up to operating temperature, which I can't say that I understand the science behind it, but it certainly seems to work.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the science behind that either, but I just do what they ask, because the people we're involved with is pretty sharp in this lawless industries, and he's pretty smart. I mean, I know he's been involved a little bit with Don Gartlett's, and I know that they had a little mishap with a battery catching on fire a few weeks ago. And that's just because they were hooked up because they'll hook them up in parallel and in series. And somehow something got happened, and one battery caught on fire. So it wasn't like it was destroyed the car or anything like that. It was destroyed one $10,000 battery pack. So
wow, but a lot of lessons were learned.
Anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 for a battery pack.
Yeah, a lot of lessons were learned on that deal, though. I know the video got out there, but I talked to a couple of guys that are involved in terms of like safety procedure, right? Like that was a moment for that, and everybody got out of it okay, but a lot of conversation was generated about how to handle that situation in the future, because it's coming. So Larry, let me go ahead.
The part about the batteries, you can put them out with water. Water will just will put everything out. But yes, there needs to be some safety precautions come into play there, just like what we just had to do to our bike to meet all the NHRA rules. Our stuff is basically set up like a top fuel car. As far as got all the shut. Only thing we don't have is the box to kill the throttle blades. So, but we got everything else on our motorcycle that a top fuel car does. We get from Dave Leahy, and he walked us through the whole deal. But the safety stuff, you can never ever get too safe.
Agreed. So these runs against Dave, if Dave beats you, what does that mean in the whole world? Like, will people, you know what I mean? Like, how serious are you taking that aspect of it, Larry? That's what I want to get at.
I'm serious because I want to send him back to Hamilton, New York with his tail between his legs.
All right. So, that's what I want to hear about. This is not just an exhibition, two bikes going down the track. No, this is something that's for history. And if he were to beat you multiple times, he's definitely going to be puffed up about it, I would imagine.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to talk to him. So what we want to do is, we're friends, but we're not friends. When we put them helmets on and get in the lights, I no longer like Dave Vantine. So we're going to do our best to beat him every run, send him home and make him work harder. That's what we're going to try to do.
Joe, if you know anything about Larry, you know that if it comes to competition, if you're riding a skateboard to see who can get to the concession stand first, he's taking it seriously. Once you're on wheels, headed someplace, he's going to do everything he can to beat you there.
Winning is the only thing that matters. We had a slow race back several years ago when it was, drag was called AMA drag bike, and they had a slow pit bike race, and I won that. That's how important it was to me to win. I just like to win. I mean, losing is no fun. I mean, I can take it, but boy, I don't have to like it. That's what I tell everybody. If I lose and I'm at top end, that's a good thing because we don't have all the people down there. So I don't have to be the nice guy. So you're down there, you're kind of pouting, so nobody really sees. So time you get back to the pit, you're okay, right? So it'll be interesting that if I was to lose, I got to make sure I keep my composure with the people at NHRA down there.
We'll have people down there, Larry. We'll definitely have people down there.
Alan Reinhart up there, and he will be telling them to re-show the deal. So if I do something stupid, he will make fun of me. Trust me.
He'll start a new one. He'll start that cycle again.
I can tell you this: if Dave was to win the first match, then when you guys come up for the second one, I will make sure everybody knows who won the first one.
Oh, I know you will. And I know you will. I wouldn't expect anything any different.
I'm looking forward to coming by your
TV on in the trailer. Trust me.
So I'm looking forward to coming by your trailer and having a beer. We have not done that in way too long. So I'm looking forward to coming over and catching up a little bit.
Yes, sir. We will have it. I can't wait to get over there. And I got my WFO sticker. He'll finally see my WFO sticker on my bike.
Awesome.
I'm a major WFO radio supporter. I mean, I try to catch the show every Tuesday when y'all come on. I just enjoy the stuff that y'all talk about, who the people you bring on, and I kind of like you a little bit, Alan. So
see, it all works out.
Let's not get all mushy. Let's not get all mushy here at the end.
No, we don't want to do that. I just like you. I didn't say I loved you. I like you.
All right, fair enough.
Larry, thank you very much. And again, we put the link to you get credit. NHRA will track how many people are going through your portal. So if anybody out there hasn't gotten their tickets yet, and this sounds interesting to you and you want to get tickets, I put the link up there in the chat section. You got all week to get through it, and Larry will get some sort of credit. And I think that stuff is important.
Absolutely. You can get it on my Facebook page. You can go Cycle Drag and get it on Cycle Drags. You can get it on Larry McBride or Larry Spiderman McBride or NHRA. And I would appreciate they go to that link and do it. And so NHRA can see how important that we could be to help the sport. And that's what I'm here to do, is try to help the sport. I'm just glad to be able to come and be a part of, because we went through some bad times. 2020 and 2021 was, 2021 was really bad for me. I had knee surgery, so I didn't, and then had a lot of sickness after that. So I hadn't got to race a whole lot. So I'm looking forward to, coming up there and racing. Unfortunately, I got the test down in Palm Beach, right there at your house here back in February, and we had a great test session. We run 572 there on a shutoff pass. So we're looking forward to putting on a good show for the fans at Dinwoody, and look forward to seeing all you guys.
It's going to be great. Larry, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and we'll see you this weekend. First time back at the NHRA in 20 years, a very meaningful Top Fuel motorcycle battle with you and Dave Vantine. Can't wait to talk about it both before and after. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having us. And Alan, we'll see you next few days.
Look forward to it, Larry. Can't wait.
Have a cold beer ready for you.
There you go. There you go. Later, Larry. There you go. Spiderman, obviously you guys have got a great relationship. But I think this is a big deal, and I like this. And I can tell you that, we're not the only ones, Alan. I had a spy report that, when is the right time to run these two bikes, right? Like when, and I hear some of the Nitro crew chiefs, I will not mention, are suggesting between Funny Car and Top Fuel, run, Funny Car, run the bikes, run Top Fuel in front of the largest possible crowd. I don't know what NHRA is going to do. It's obviously a competition to make that decision, but unless there's a reason that I haven't thought of or don't understand why we couldn't do that, I think we should give this the biggest spotlight possible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it would take just a couple of minutes to put the 1320 blocks back out in between the two classes. But I think if you lead off the session or follow up the session, I don't know. I mean, if you wanted to put them in the middle, put them in the middle. But I think that I think if it was up to me, I would try to run a Nitro session. Let's run the Nitro Harley. Then let's run Spiderman and Valentine. Then let's go into Funny Cars and just line them up like that, so we can go, hey fans, look, show up at 5:00, and we're gonna have nothing but Nitro for an hour and a half or whatever it's gonna be out there. I think that would be pretty cool.
Well, exactly, and super exciting. And I mentioned Formula One. Like every detail was thought of to try to be the biggest possible spectacle, right? Like the most important thing was like, how do we make this the biggest possible spectacle and wring out every eyeball we can possibly get from every aspect of this? And I think that attitude is applicable here, right? You got Spiderman McBride with a legendary status going up against a rival and friend, 5-second Nitro bikes. Let's get the most out of it. And we'll see it this weekend. I am super excited. All right, Alan, final thoughts on anything we got going on this weekend. Of course, Factory Showdown is back. Bill Skillman back on the entry list. I'll be talking with Bill a little bit later on today for Factory Stock Podcast. We've got Chris Thorne. Tried to get him on the show. Too busy rebuilding his engine, trying to go 3 for 3 in Fuel Tech Pro Mod. Anything you got out there that sticks out in your mind you want to talk about?
No, I'm just looking forward to getting back to Richmond. I think, you mentioned the Franklins and what they've been through the last couple of years, and with us not being able to get there, I'm looking forward to getting back out there and seeing the fans. I hope they don't get scared away by a forecast. If it's going to rain some during the weekend, it's going to rain some during the weekend, but we can deal with that. Once it quits raining, we'll get the place dried out. We'll be ready to go. That track has always been really fast. I just think it's going to be a great weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I also know, because some of the sportsman racers are looking at the forecast and kind of like this, that they have extended the withdrawal deadline. If there's somebody that's looking at it and goes, okay, you know what? So if that ends up, and usually in a situation like this, we do have a few sportsman racers that decide, you know what, I'm going to pull back. If you're going to go down there, know that you may go into eliminations without any practice runs. You may have, it may get shuffled around the schedule a little bit, or even like Gainesville, you may have to stay and run on Monday, depending on what happened. So some of them are going to pull out, which tends to make it a much quicker pro turnaround, for the nitro cars and for the Mountain Motor Pro Stocks, which we hadn't seen yet this year for the rest of the cars. So I'm just looking forward to it. If Mother Nature's going to throw a curveball in the middle of it, bring it. There ain't a whole lot I haven't seen out there in the last 30, however many years it's been. So we'll deal with it. We'll get the race run. We always do. And then we'll pack up and head on down the road.
Well, exactly. And what I always like to say is, if I'm a sportsman racer and I'm spending X amount to go there and to compete and I'm running for a championship, I would definitely take all of that into consideration and make the best call for me at the time. If I'm a race fan from the region and we haven't had NHRA Camping World Drag Racing in the region for at least 2 years, I'm going out to, number one, support the facility, and worst case scenario, you're going to get a rain ticket, right? Worst case scenario. The best case scenario, you get to rub elbows with every star in NHRA drag racing for a little bonus time. And like you said, Alan, how many times have they said, oh, it's going to rain, it's never going to happen, no chance. And we race well. And, maybe even a little extra autograph hound time, maybe a little extra rubbing elbows with Ron Capps because he's not quite as busy as he would have been on a normal race weekend. If you're a real fan, there's a lot to do during those rain delays.
You're right. And, safety safari will get the track back at it as quick as we can. But in the meantime, all the drivers, all of the crew guys, when we get in a situation like that, are as bored as the rest of us. And so they're hanging out by the ropes and chatting with the fans and doing, because that's what they do to kind of kill time and get through it. So it really does open up a lot of opportunities to do a little of that extra pitch moving if you're up for that.
Exactly. All right, Alan, great job as usual. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. Travel safe. I will see you in a couple of days.
Sounds great. Yeah, it's 2 days from now. We'll be there. Thanks, Alan.
See ya.
There goes the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. But stick around, folks. We've got Jack from Cycle Drag going to come on, give us a little perspective about Spiderman and preview the event. What a big deal he may think this is. I see we got Terry Sutton out there, crew chief for Flying Ryan Ayler. Got a big bike crowd going on this week. But I do want to tell you about a couple other things. Just allow me some thoughts for a moment or two. Some news. I'm happy that we're beating NHRA on news. Like, they always try to wait until the show is off the air. None of this is true, but it sure seems like it, to release any kind of news. Fuel Tech NHRA Pro Mod Series, presented by D-Wagon, will hold its first ever shootout specialty race during the 2022 campaign. That's right. The D-Wagon NHRA Pro Mod Shootout will take place on Friday at the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals at Brainerd International Raceway, August 18th through 21st, giving the Fuel Tech NHRA Pro Mod Drag Racing Series, presented by D-Wagon, the opportunity to have the category's first ever specialty race and a $10,000 prize. You can get that story up on NHRA.com. How cool is that? That not the race so much, but I actually got to read some breaking news off NHRA.com on WFO Radio. That is more importantly. And this one from the Courtney Enders media empire, Stellar Marine Pass has a new program. It's actually called the Pass for Cash. Will kick off this weekend for Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Stellar Marine going to offer $500 bonus to the quickest elapsed time of the event, whether it be in qualifying or eliminations for Mountain Motor Pro Stock. So another $500 thanks to the folks at Stellar Marine, which is kind of cool. They'll be out there competing. Tommy Lee will be doing the driving of that machine out at the Virginia Nationals. A couple other quick thoughts, and we're going to get to Jack from Cycle Drag and get his perspective on a few things. First of all, the people who make it possible for me to do this, guys. It's so important. And I'm talking about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Been with the show for 10 years. The Dragster Adventure. You're a fan. You think it's cool. You like the attitude. Why not take it the next step? Drive a dragster. Go to frankhawley.com. It's very affordable. frankhawley.com. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. If you're looking to get an education in a field that everybody seems to really like and want to be here, why is it? Well, some of them are getting rich and everybody else just loves what they do. samtech.edu, which are both great things. Call Brian Massengill. Tell Brian you heard it on WFO Radio. And then there's Marvin Rodak. Grills, tools, tips, information, bacon, barbecues, hot sauce, spice rub. All of those things should have triggered you one way or another. Here's the number, 817-924-6821. Call Marvin, order some coffee, craft roasted coffee, fresh per your order from around the world. He'll take you on a journey. Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. And then there are our Patreons who have been getting more and more. Boy, did they get a lot for Formula One week. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. Join our VIP listener club. And some people think it's worth it. Now let's go out to Jack from Cycle Drag. Jack is out. I believe Jack's at a racetrack somewhere. In fact, he is. What's up, Jack? How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So excited to be on my favorite podcast finally. This is a career-defining moment for me. Thank you very much, Joe.
Do you want me to say your last name, or is your last name Jack from Cycle Drag? Because I kind of think the way you have worked it with Cycle Drag, honestly, the feelings are mutual. Like, of all the coverage, you're doing something different, right? And so I don't know that world. I have to pay attention to what you do so that I have some knowledge that I can share. And you've carved out such a niche for yourself, and you do such a great job with Cycle Drag.
Well, thank you very much. And I just always assumed it would be better to build a brand that was not me. Who wants to follow Jack Corpela, right? But Cycle Drag, the world's most fastest, craziest motorcycles. And I will tell you this too. I was thrilled to have the opportunity to actually be in the shop of one Alan Reinhart a couple months ago. That was an experience. He has a wickedly fast chopper that he let me take for a ride. Let me tell you what, it got my attention in a hurry.
What was he doing? Like, do you know that I was there like an hour before you that exact day? Did you know that?
No, he didn't tell me about that. You think he would have mentioned that?
See, isn't that weird? Isn't that a little weird, Jack? So I had never been to Wild West Engineering ever. And so this year after Arizona, I was like, this is the year. I'm going down there to Tucson, and went down there the night before, woke up, went to Reinhardt's shop. We did a version of the show from the shop. He took me for a ride in his Mustang, which was awesome. And then I heard that you went down there, and he's got quite the setup down there. It was kind of cool.
Yes, he does. Well, I'm glad to hear. I think that was before his tire faux pas on the Mustang, because when I was there, he was showing me that he realized if tires are more than 10 years old, it's probably not a good idea to be driving around with it. Oh, it was after the tire faux pas. So at least you had new tires.
We did. We had new tires, and we had a torn up fender, but the car was fast just the same. And, we could talk Tucson all day long, but there was one street with all those classic neon signs. Hopefully you guys cruise down that street where, like, all the signs from yesteryear, dry cleaner, this place, that place, they kept the neon signs, even though it's now a university dorms or something. I found that to be like the coolest spot.
Yes. And speaking of cool, what I wanted to say, like I said, we could talk about this for hours, but what I love about you, Alan, is that there's a million different things we could do in broadcasting. We all share this passion. We love drag racing. I love motorcycles. I love drag racing. And, I was able to come up during that generation where guys like Lewis Bloom, Brett Kepner, got to listen to Dave McClellan and Bob Fry. I don't think people understand how much of your life you dedicate to this sport. And I really appreciate that, because there's really not that many people who do it any longer. So when I get to bench race with you, Alan, your followers, it's an enjoyable day for me.
Well, so let's get into that. We just heard from Larry. He and Alan, they're buddies from way back. I first became aware of Larry and understanding, obviously, pages of magazines, saw him test once at PBIR, probably, I don't know, had to be at least 10 years ago now, and stood next to the bike, and the exhaust out the top, Elmer Trent style, was visually stimulating. It's obviously nitro, but he is more than that to you. And so this has got to be a very special weekend for you. The merger of a couple of things that are personal and you're passionate about, all going on here at the Virginia Nationals. You've been, friends with Larry for a long time. And I just want to give you the opportunity to kind of speak on that, to the gravity of this moment for you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, he's a great person. He's become like a second father to me. And sometimes I'm reluctant to say that, because I don't want anybody to think I'm biased, in that he deserves his due as the John Force of Top Fuel motorcycle racing. And we can get into several statistics as to why he is just that. But my personal story with Larry McBride goes like this. I was a nervous announcer in November of 2001, getting my first opportunity with AMA Pro Star to announce a race. I was so nervous, Joe. I hope I don't offend anybody, but I actually did wet my pants just a little bit. That's how nervous I was at 18 years old, because you make a mistake and then what do you think? You think, oh my God, that guy down the hot dog stand heard me. The guy at top end heard me. And then you learn to just let that stuff go as we evolve and we become announcers. But I learned so much quickly about how you're treated as an announcer, sometimes harshly, sometimes well, sometimes I'm sure you can relate. A lot of racers will be friends with you just because they want you to say positive things on the microphone. Well, Larry was a gentleman and an awesome guy from day one. And then there came a time where I was no longer the announcer, and he was still an awesome guy and a gentleman. He's as real as it gets. And he's a great person, and what he's done is absolutely amazing. He is in the Guinness Book of World Records for good reason. Truly just amazing, the legacy that he's left on the sport.
Yes, well, exactly. And so when this was announced and we were talking about like this big event, and I hope that people show up and click the link, but not just Larry. I think this is something that is cool that NHRA can do and build upon to increase the spotlight on our stars. There's going to be someone to come out to see this crazy 260 mile per hour motorcycle that maybe doesn't know that Brittany Force is as amazing as she is. And that's what this cross promotion is about. And I think it can be duplicated with other racers out there of legendary status. But this one is important. We just talked to Larry about Dave, and he wants to win.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Larry, you're talking about a guy that's so competitive. I don't even want to tell you some of the stories that we've had throughout the years. But another thing I've noticed about him, personal side I can give you, getting close to him, his OCD is so bad. If you turn a can of brake clean about a millimeter to the right or left in his pit, you will see him go crazy, sweat. That is a problem that needs addressed immediately. And at first I was like, man, I'm glad my OCD is not this bad. But then I look at the big picture and I'm like, okay, maybe this is what God has blessed this man with, to make him 0.2 quicker than anybody else, to make him 20 mile an hour quicker than anybody else, to do something that from the outside looks very dangerous, and to have an incredible, impeccable safety record like he does. It's that attention to detail, I think, that has made him and his brother great for so many years.
All right, so I just got back from Formula One weekend, and I am, energized with ideas and big event concepts. But for me, what stands out is the eyes of the entire world are focused on one little place. And there are so many people all over our globe that are focused. We're focused on Miami Gardens, Florida, for whatever reason that they care about Formula One. And I can't help but think that that is also true about this weekend in Virginia for people who care about this. These are the two quickest guys in North America, but there are others around the world, maybe no longer active, but are in the same neighborhood. So give us the international focus on what's about to happen.
This is huge, and this is where Cycle Drag has really kind of come into its own, that the motorcycle community, thanks to social media and all the technology that we enjoy, is so passionate no matter where you may be. I go over to Australia, I go to England, and there's devout followers over there. It's a shame that we're so separated. I think maybe someday NHRA needs a jet where we can load all these motorcycles on the same plane and get them together. But in terms of what this means to the motorcycle world, and I've been trying to beat this drum for the last several weeks because I appreciate the opportunity from NHRA so much. It's motorcycle Shangri-La. You're talking about Pro Stock Motorcycle, Top Fuel Harley, the world's quickest and fastest with Larry McBride and Dave Vantine. And I just found out from my good buddy Jeff Dysinger, he's going to be bringing an electric bike down to display. NHRA just signed off on that. They're very excited about that. So, I always looked forward to the NHRA Nationals where you'd get Top Fuel Harley and Pro Stock Motorcycle. That would be like a double header for me. This is just sensory overload. And you're exactly right. I tell casual fans, what do you hear about golf? People will tell you, don't pick up a club. You might just get addicted. I tell people, watch out going to an NHRA drag race because you may get addicted to this sport. There's so many different levels, whether you're a fan, whether you're a competitor, and that's what it's all about. It's about getting new eyeballs on the sport. And why this is so important is, let's be honest, you just saw Larry. He's not a young man anymore. Right. We realize time is fleeting. I realize what an unbelievable show this is. And I've been to drag strips where there's only been 100 people in the stands enjoying it. So I have the utmost respect for the marketing machine that NHRA is. Nobody understands what it takes to promote a drag race on this level, and they've done it well. So to get Larry and Dave in front of this many people and maybe some of their following, in front of some of the NHRA following, I just think is a coveted opportunity for everybody.
Absolutely. And vice versa. And I love your idea. You know, you were mentioning the plane, right? These are things, and it's, I'm sorry, I keep mentioning Formula One drag racing fans, but there is a lot of cross promotion. We did a show, NHRA Talks Formula One, with Michael Heiner last week, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes that appreciate it. But when it comes to big events, right, I was thinking, you know, what did the Beatles do to get big, right? They came over here, right? What did the Ramones do to get big? They went over there. I don't know. John Force became John Force because he went to Australia and had that experience. I would love to see us export some of our big stars. I know in Australia, they just had an incident down there, got a lot of coverage. Yeah, you know, Jim Reed Racing, they had a little nitro in a cylinder and it backfired. The guys were injured, but okay. But like to export our stars internationally at some point, somewhere during an off season or something, maybe we need to do that. Maybe we need to send the NHRA Nitro show out on the road at some point. Before I let you go, Steve Johnson versus Matt Smith.
Oh,
Alan made Larry weigh in on it. So you're the cycle drag guy. What is your take on what we are witnessing? Steve's going to be on tomorrow, 12 noon, talk about the win. What will he choose to do? Will he throw more gas on the fire and try to get under the skin of his competitors even more so? Will he pull back knowing that he's he's in their heads, or he might get beaten up? Like, you know, what will Steve Johnson do tomorrow? But more importantly, what do you think about what has transpired so far?
Absolutely love it. Got my popcorn out. Joe, I used to work at WWE, and I think their formula works for sports across the board. It's about being emotionally invested. It's about characters. It's about rivalries. And as long as things are done respectfully, which they are between Matt Smith and Steve Johnson, it's wonderful for the sport. Anything that gets people talking. And I think this year has so much intrigue with 10 pounds now added to the 4 valves. Something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. What if you got a 2 valve sitting around? Now you can be 30 pounds lighter. You got options. Matt, I don't know if he's playing games or not, but he announced on social media that he was eating Angie's cookies to gain 10 pounds, and he is indeed staying with the Suzuki. But who knows? And then because of the interesting role that NHRA has where Matt can switch motorcycles, that adds even another layer of intrigue. So I love it. Anything to get people talking about that category is a wonderful thing. And what a story Steve is. I mean, I came up for years where I love Steve. God bless him. He'll agree with this. He couldn't sniff a championship. I mean, he was in the back of the pack for so long, and now to see him in the twilight of his career really go after it, and you know he wants redemption after the way things ended last year. It's really fulfilling. I mean, there's no better lesson than hard work and perseverance pays off than what Steve Johnson is doing right now. But he's going to have a very tough time getting past a game, Matt Smith. As Angie told me last year at the finals when Matt was playing some games on the starting line and threw Steve off, the wily veteran actually got thrown off. I said, Angie, was that on purpose? She looked at me and said, his dad's Tricky Ricky. What do you think?
Exactly. Well, exactly. And so that's why, you know, I like, you know, think about the Roman Colosseum, right? And the gladiators that went in there, and, you know, Steve is like putting up this fight, and you're starting to think, I hate to come up with such an analogy, right? The gladiators, but it's like that. But Matt Smith is Tricky Ricky's kid, and he knows all the games and all the tricks and all the moves. And I've seen him do them, and he's got 2 fast bikes, and he's got scrappers behind him. And this is going to be wild. Oh, by the way, and Vance and Hines is in the mix too, right?
That's right.
Let's not forget those guys.
That's right. And how about if you're Angie Smith, Flying Ryan Ayler, Dave Barron, all these people with V Twins, you just got a Christmas gift from NHRA. They just said, here, we told you we're going to step in and maintain parity. And that's exactly what we're doing. And I don't think people realize the amazing job NHRA has done taking 2 distinct vehicles. Alan will show you in his shop the difference between a Suzuki piston and a Buell piston. I mean, 2 different animals, and by and large, we've enjoyed some great parity throughout the years, and I think we're going to continue to enjoy that.
Absolutely. No, they do a great job. They always, first of all, they've been getting less flack over the last 2 years, which means they're doing a great job. You're always going to get flack, but they have gotten less. And honestly, with the weight, I hate to see people have to starve themselves. That's the one downside of the bikes for the past couple of years. And like the story, Jerry Savoy, when he won the U.S. Nationals, his reward was he got to eat a burger. And he told me, like, this was, Joe, you don't understand. This is the first burger that I've had in over a year. And you could see it when the man ate the burger. Like, it was a big deal. And Steve it's a joke. He's only been eating broccoli, right? Like, that's it. I only eat broccoli, which is not good. It's not healthy to eat the same thing. That 10 pounds going to make a difference, I think, in the health of people.
Amen.
So
yes. I agree with you. I agree with you tenfold. I used to be a wrestler and cut weight. It's miserable. I had the opportunity to be a part of Gino Scali's magical 2003 run as a crewman. Gino walks around about 210 right now. He's got a lovely wife who loves to cook Italian food. Back in the day, Gino was like 125, did not look healthy. That's how committed he was to winning a championship. I said, man, what'd you eat yesterday? He said, one thing of applesauce. You know, little thing of applesauce. That's how dialed in these guys are. That's how much they care. And you still can lose weight to put the weight where you want on the motorcycle, but I'm with you 100%. Let's give the 170, 180, 190 pound guys a chance to be competitive. Maybe would see a guy like Andrew Hines come back.
Exactly. The quality of life. And if you talk to Andrew, I'm sure that's in the calculus, right? Like, hey man, I can't do that all the time because he is a big guy. Jack, thank you so much. Appreciate it. CycleDrag.com, obviously, and you got Larry's link up there, and we posted Larry's link, and I hope people are able to access that and get out there and watch this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, I will see you there this weekend.
3 classes of motorcycle guys. I cannot wait. Can't wait to see you, Joe, and everybody stop by, say hello. We're looking forward to meeting some new followers and pumping up motorcycles in the NHRA.
Absolutely. Jack, great job. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
There it is, Jack from Cycle Drag with us here on WFO Radio. All right, put your comments in the comments section, guys. Anything that you've seen today, anything we've talked about, or things that we haven't spoken about, if you want to throw out there. I do want to spend a few moments or two self-promoting gratuitously. No, I want to tell you about just the sparks of ideas. Last week, after the show was over, the last 10 minutes, we ended up talking about tickets. And some people were like, NHRA should give out free tickets. And I pushed back really harshly on it. And I dwelled on it all week. And I thought about it. And I said to myself, you owe it to the WFO universe to reinforce everything you said. I know people love free tickets and they want to get in places for free, but what makes an event truly a successful event is not whether or not people will accept free tickets and go. It's whether people will pay. And that's what I just did this past weekend. Now, you can watch the Ignition Show on YouTube. You can listen to the audio. You won't see the photographs, though. But we spent, as in me, Giovanni in Miami, and our family together went to the Miami Grand Prix at Hard Rock Stadium, which is 7 minutes down the road. It was a miracle because I love Formula One, and also I love my neighborhood, and also I love the stadium. Years ago, my dad was involved in the original building of the stadium, and so there's just so many reasons why I had to be part of this event. So I bought and paid for tickets to an event. As a radio guy, that is a big deal. Now, we spent money on tickets to the Gator Nationals every year from 1980 to 2012, buying 4 tickets, 6 tickets, top eliminator tickets, whatever they offered, we bought them because we loved NHRA Drag Racing. We paid. And, sometimes people would be like, hey, can I get an extra ticket or something? And we would give them the ticket because you had to support. You have to support. The series has to make money. But what does it take for people to want to spend money on tickets? What must you have? And that's where I want to spend a little time just showing, like, the energy of all these people around us from all around the world was amazing. It was a religious-like fervor to see the people in their gear and the amazing things that happened for this track. Now, when you have an endless budget, like unbelievable budget, it makes sense that you can do incredible things. But some things were done poorly. Like, obviously, this road here, like, that's too many people in one spot trying to get out of that area. They're going to have to fix that for next year. So they're not perfect. But these people wanted to be there. And whether it be, this guy is a DJ. He's got his little DJ kit. He's got his speakers. They put a little shady thing up. And he's DJing off the back of a Ferrari. Like, that is next level. And everyone is drinking their beer, and I'm against it on a Ferrari, but people were loving it. Yeah, there was a lot of sunburn, but the indoor areas, the beverage areas, the fun factor was through the roof. Like, look at this car. It's a Formula One car that they painted up to be like a location to take a selfie in front of. That's the point of it. It adds nothing to the show. Cars don't run faster. They're not quicker. But I bet you 50,000 people took a selfie in front of that Formula One car, painted up with flowers, and they shared it on their social media. And their millions of friends saw that car, and some of them said, what was that? Maybe I want to go to that. Throughout the venue, this is a clock, but it's a Rolex clock. It's a marketing opportunity. It's a selfie opportunity. It's an opportunity. Now, if you're not into any of that stuff and you don't want to share what you're doing on your social, I respect you. Then again, you're probably not watching this because this is on social and on YouTube. There is a generation. They still have a flip phone. They write letters. No, they don't. But little touches, little things that make people want to share, want to get out there. Like this. What is the point of this at a race? The answer is nothing. There's no point. But without this, the spectacle would it have been less? Well, I wouldn't be showing you the picture right now. So this girl got paid to dance around and, paint amongst flowers. Like, I guess we were in kind of a jungle area. Not every idea is going to be a winner, but you got to try stuff. That's my point. But when someone paid for their ticket, $500, general admission, $500. That's not what I paid, by the way, guys. And of course, I made a bunch of moves, so it cost me like very little. If you're wondering about the frugality of WFO Joe, you're wondering, I made moves. Okay. So in the end, it was like net, if you're wondering about my finances. But somebody else, because I got to make a move, somebody else paid $500, walked in and said, wow, look at that. What is that? Why is that there? This is worth it. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Look at this. The marina. They put a bunch of boats on a dry dock. And they built fake water. That's wood. Because you can't have boats at the football stadium. And part of Miami is boats and partying on boats and girls in bikinis on boats. And you know what? There were. Now, it was silly, and the Europeans are mocking us for it. I'm going to be very honest. The race is some people think it's the greatest thing to ever happen. Some people think it was a terrible example for Formula One because the true race fans are left out in the cold, and that's a great debate to have it. Let's have that debate because you're talking about it. We should be having that debate more in drag racing. Just the trees and the plants and places to hang out and get beverages. Lots of beverages, guys. Beverages everywhere. 1,000 different places to get beverages. The podium. The amount of money that's spent just on that podium right there out in front of the stadium. It was really amazing. But the ideas, but not one of those ideas, not one of them is give away free tickets. Let's lower the value of our sport. Let's make the people who are in fact willing to pay feel like they're paying too much. That's a bad idea, guys. Got to get that out of your head. Got to come up with adding value. Some might say, and I'm not necessarily saying this, but some might say the price of tickets is too low. That people want a premium experience. They want to pay more to get more. Like this material covered tiki bar hut shelter thing with rented grass and ferns. Something to think about for all of us that love drag racing, something to think about for the growth of the sport. Like what crowd do you want? I can tell you one final thing, and I wanted to say this to my NHRA audience out here because I think it's very important. Hopefully you understand this, is that there were 100,000 people there. And it's my belief that every one of them would love 2 Nitro Funny cars going down the racetrack. Every single one of them would be blown away by the experience of two Top Fuel dragsters going down the racetrack. And when Brittany Force or Leah Pruitt or Antron Brown or Steve Torrence hopped out of their cars with their personality and swagger and character and their totally unique personalities, they would be blown away that it is happening. But they don't know that it is happening yet. They don't know that we have the great time that we have out at the NHRA. They don't know that it is a spectacle, and it can be more of a spectacle and should be more of a spectacle. And that is our job. That's what we're all in. That's what we're doing. That's what Jack is doing. That's what I'm doing. I know Brian Loans is trying to do that, and everyone is trying to do that. And the guys on the Power Hour and Bobby Bennett. But to just accept that this is drag racing and these are our people and they love skulls on their shirts and we can't grow. Can't raise a ticket price. Can't raise a ticket price. No, I think there should be some sort of premium experience. How do we put a cover over people? How do we put some people inside air conditioning? How do we give them more and charge more? Everything can't be a free ticket. It just can't. They've tried that. It doesn't work. People go, and that's it. Let's see what you have to say, and then we'll get on out of here. I got to talk to Bill Skillman in a couple minutes. See what everybody's got to say. Yeah, Bill Skillman, Factory Stock Podcast. Did I get a haircut? Yes, I did. Capco will win again. You would think. You get best social media content during rain delays. Absolutely. Way to go, Nikki. Stan, I think they had a specialty pro mod race in Vegas in the 2000 with the regular race. Well, that's not what the press release says. Forgot how good Jack is. We need more Jack after pro stock motorcycle events. Way to go, Troy. Yeah, see, you forgot. I didn't forget. Everybody's saying, what's up to Jack? Way to go, Jack. Jack is so cool. He always includes me in his live stuff at the track. Nice show today, guys. Thank you. Donnie, re-rapping. Donnie is the rap master out there, rapping all kinds of race cars. Would you do 6 cars in 6 days, Donnie? Something crazy like that? Scott says, Joe, you rock. Thank you. Lyle Barnett's ticket deal for locals was awesome, though. $20. That's great. That's great. What is odd about ticket prices? I paid more for Phoenix than Vegas, but Phoenix has less classes. That's the track. See, we've got this thing where, the tracks are individual, independent promoters, and they get their say. Good show today. Thank you. Joe, I've been saying for NHRA to grow, you have to have good-looking women and making about more partying than the race itself. I have never seen anything that have like an event promotion where having more attractive people has proven to be a negative. I have not seen that one yet. I would like to test it out. More attractive people usually means more people. And we should be thinking about it. It's just a fact. And the proof point of this past weekend going to this event, there were a fair amount of attractive people. My last drag race will be the day 100,000 fans becomes a reality. I don't think I have to worry. Oh, and exactly. The exclusivity of it, right? Like, do we want 100,000 fans out there this weekend? No. Do we want 15% more than what a sellout is right now? Yeah. Yeah, we do. But that's it. Like, at some point, you got to start raising the ticket prices. You want a situation where there's so many people that want to come that you got to raise the prices so that some of them don't come, like they're doing with interest rates right now. Like, the economy is so hot, they got to raise interest rates. They got to slow it down. Slow it down. Boy, wouldn't that be crazy to have that situation with NHRA drag racing? You got to do more. There's got to be more to do. Destinations, locations. And I think they're on that front. I was happy that Jason was back whooping it up. We need his energy. Well, exactly. Frankly, folks, the entire future of NHRA Camping World Drag Racing rests upon the back of Jason Logan's DJing skills. It's being talked about by everyone. If we fail, look to Jason Logan. Hopefully you're out there to hear that, Jason. I'm just kidding. Let's see. No Prep Kings at Pro Mod Racing is what's on the rise. I don't know, man. I've been to those events. The TV show is definitely great for No Prep Kings. It's definitely great. Our live events are better. Man. Have you been? I've been. I've experienced it. Their live event is not even remotely close to what an NHRA national event is. If an NHRA national event is a 7 on a 1 to 10, theirs is a 3. They've got a TV show on a network that plays them in continuous loop over and over again. Hard to beat that. Are they drawing 100,000 fans over the course of a weekend? No, they're not. So I think that is not accurate, is the thing. It is not accurate to say that. Inaccurate. Backed by numbers, right? Like data. The TV show that is NPK and Street Outlaws, tough to beat that. That's a TV show. But then you put that next to Drive to Survive for Formula One, and who's got the energy? It's just different. No need to really compare. Everybody grows together. That's the thing. Everybody grows together. By the way, Toyota getting involved with Ron Capps. Why do they think that that's a good idea? Why did they bother to spend all that money? Why did they bother to do that? Top Fuel 173. Why didn't they go, get a No Prep King racer? And, I don't know. I think you're mistaken. Bill Skillman, let me call you back in a minute. I'm finishing WFO Radio and we'll do our interview. All right. There it is. I'm spending so much time with you guys because I'm so passionate. I want to get out there and we want to take over the world. Wow. Now, if we can only blame Jason for the black cloud that has been following me, I think you can. I think you should do it. I keep telling AJ about NPK that it's not the same as the TV show. He wants to go and he should go and you should go and everybody should go check it out. Go check it out. I checked it out. I thought, wow, this is something. There's a lot of people on the set of a TV show and they're filming a show and this is great. I liked it a lot, greatly. I had inside access. I got to stand on the starting line. I was a part of the whole thing. I loved it. It was great. Was it an NHRA national event? No, it wasn't. Something totally different. A different experience. My opinion. Our local fox hunt is usually the biggest race. Ladies get in free. Place is packed. NHRA should do well. Bill Donor. I mean, every fox should get a free halter top when they come in, right? That's the secret. We have figured it all out. If there's failure, the road to success is paved in 2 ways. 1, Jason Logan's DJing and hype ability. 2, halter tops. Attractive people. I've never heard anybody complain about attractive people. There's too many attractive people around here. This is terrible. That's never happened. Street Outlaws Live was a blast. Went to the event in Tulsa. Great crowd, good energy. Schedule not so accurate as NHRA. Yeah, like the train's got to run on time. Here. Troy, Sacramento does huge events too. This guy likes halter tops. Make halter tops great again. Exactly. I'm all for trying anything. You got to try it. I agree with you, Joe. I traveled across the United States to Kentucky to see life-size Noah's Ark, and it paid good money to see it. I would like to see your photos, Stephen. That way I can experience it without having experienced it. All right, guys, thank you very much. Big shout out to our sponsors, the people who make it possible. You know them, but when you need them, please remember, obviously, our Patreon VIP Listener Club, Marvin Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, samtech.edu. Obviously, you got to get connected with Phillips Connect. 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Wednesday. Justin Ashley. Total Seal Piston Rings. VP Racing Fuels. And FTI Performance Racing Transmissions. Thank you all. Remember, Steve Johnson at noon, Justin Ashley at 2. 2 separate shows. And in the meantime, you can go check out the Ignition podcast where we covered everything that was Formula One weekend, NASCAR, etc. Thanks to Alan Reinhart and Spiderman McBride. Thank you, Jack, as well. WFO.